Ryan's just giving you a preview of what's to come, which is him freezing up randomly during the broadcast tonight. I told him to hold still as humanly possible. So if it goes to hell on his side, it's all his fault because he moved around too much. So you know that if that was a problem for me, we'd be screwed. I'd just turn the camera off and just listen to me because I couldn't stop moving my arms and stuff around. So
I already move a lot. I'm ADHD. This is not good.
I know, right? Barnalicious in the house. Neil Sabo, of course. Josh from Southern Colorado in the house as well. Thank you for joining us. We have a good show planned tonight. What's funny about tonight's show is if any of you tuned in a couple of weeks ago for our PowerShift show, which we will be doing again on Thursday this week. If you tuned in for PowerShift, you know that we talked all about the Pro Street cars that were at the Grand National Roadster Show. Well, Ryan was being a good dad and like doing kid things and didn't get to catch that show. So he didn't know that we had talked about Pro Street. And so tonight he was like, hey, let's talk about some Pro Street stuff. And I laughed, but we are going to talk about Pro Street, but a little bit different than we did talking about the Grand National Roadster Show. So we are going to look at some of the same cars. We'll talk about that a little bit. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about some upcoming event stuff and about getting into the shop, which is going to lead us into that Pro Street stuff. But before we get into all that, what have you been up to, dude? Anything exciting? I see the shop in the background.
Yeah, it's finally, it's starting to look like something now. I finally got the foam done and extension done, and now I've just got to finish the wiring because I've got like wires that used to be on the front wall that used to be actually right in the middle of me.
Yeah. Oh, see, there you go. You're moving around too much, and now all of it went down.
Yeah, so I've got. Oh no. How about now?
Oh, that's so awesome. Jeff Owen, no, are you still welding? Yes, I know. I meant to call you back, dude. Sorry. Yeah, am I still welding? I've been welding. So I've been working on mezzanine. As you well know, that thing is welded and done and looking good. I'm ready to build an elevator. Yes, people, I'm building an elevator to get to my office. It's going to be awesome.
That's pretty impressive.
What could go wrong?
Well, I'm going to let you ride in it a few times before I go.
It will have some fall protection built into it. Yeah, it will have a brake so that if it all goes to shit and the Chinese hoist that's holding me up breaks, then it'll, so it'll be good. Yeah, it'll stop abruptly, but it won't kill me. Oh, and it'll probably make it so it's just high enough off the ground that I can't climb down and just low enough that I can't climb up. But Otis will be fine when he jumps out of it and barks to get help,
Perfect.
Yeah, it'll be great.
It's like a little lassie.
Yes, exactly. Like Timmy fell down the well. Down the well. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and basketball, that's about all I've been doing. And working on
that turd back there.
That turd back here.
Yeah. The old big block race truck.
Yeah.
So why are you working on the truck though? That's where I was going lead into the events that we were talking about. So give everybody a reminder.
Yeah, I'm working on the truck because I'm going to the tailgate throwdown April 27th at the Newport Dragway.
Hell yeah.
I mean, isn't everybody going there? Well, I know
everybody but me.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
I suck.
Yeah.
I am missing out on racing said truck behind you and hanging out and having a good time where I really have no responsibilities for an event that I do have a lot of responsibilities for that's a long way away from home.
Yeah, it's going to be sad that you're not there, but I'm hoping it's looking like, man, we've got like almost 1,000 people on the page right now. Like it is just blowing up. And there's another podcast going on somewhere else right now where they're actually talking about it. So this is awesome. I hope that it turns out to be like just this, like I get there and I'm like, holy crap, we are in over our heads, boys. You know?
So Michelle Harvey is both complimenting you and bagging on you right now in the chat when she's asking, is that a 4x4 black square body back there?
Yeah.
Okay, it is a square body and it's got a big block in it, but Michelle, it is not a 4-wheel drive. It's sitting on jack stands right now, right?
No, it's actually on the ground.
Oh, okay. Okay, see, it's lower than it looks from the angle of the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very low. But those wheels are gone. Yeah.
You're getting rid of those wheels?
Yeah, they're gone.
What are you putting on it instead?
I've already got a new set here.
What are they?
I'm doing the polished lip jeg spikes. I got the 17s for the front, 17 by 4.5s, and 15 by 10s on the rear.
Nice. Okay, so does that mean I can lower the thing properly? Are they going to fit under it so I can get down lower?
You think it needs to go down more?
Oh, yeah.
See, you and my brother-in-law, you're on the same page. He's like, it's not low enough, but it's nice. It's not low enough.
I mean, what does it have in it right now? Is it a flip kit in the back, or is it just a?
Yeah, it's
really?
flip. Yeah, it's got a C notch too. It's like a
really
6.5, 6.6 drop, something like that. It's low.
Okay, it doesn't look that low. So okay, I'll let you have that one. Yeah. Michelle says she has a 4x4 running gear and frame, and she can fix it if you need to. She does like her trucks lifted. That is true. I forgot about that. Yeah, he's going to keep this one, Michelle, but let me know if you're really hunting for something. I'll help you. Brian Mackey says, hey, Chad, we're building a 59 wagon with a fold flat rear seat. I was thinking of building a slide out table like the one you did in Ethel. How did you like it? Is it worth the extra effort? So I wish I had photos of that to be able to share right this second. But what he's talking about is for the drag and drive events, I built a metal tray, if you will, that was about 8 or 10 inches deep with a railing around it. Expanded metal, and 3/4 or 1 inch box tubing that was on wheels that rolled into the back of the car and held all of our stuff for the drag and drives. And then it had legs on it. So you backed it out, you pulled it out of the car until the back of it was, off the tailgate, put 2 of the legs down, and then pulled it further until it was still on the tailgate and the next set of legs folded down. And then you aired the car out and pulled it out from under it. And this thing just stood there in the pits and had all of your stuff in it. It was awesome. And Brian, I would say, yes, it was awesome and it was worth it. However, there are some changes I would do to it. Like Jet Black says, it's a kind of like an ambulance table. Exactly. Yeah. So there are some things I would change. Originally, I did ours with casters that did not, swivel. Just little small rollers. The problem was that if you didn't get the thing just dead nuts lined up, you were dragging it around in the car to get it to slide all the way in. So then I changed over to using those little balls that are in the flange that they use for conveyor kind of systems, where you can just slide a bunch of stuff across it. And I used 10 or 15 of those things. That was not enough. And the reason I say that, they rolled nice. That wasn't a problem. The problem was that when you got 1,000 pounds of stuff in that thing, because we really did have about 800 or 900 pounds of stuff in it, it actually left marks in the metal floor, it dented the metal floor as it rolled through it, So the back of the car wasn't perfect to begin with anyway. So, not the end of the world. And if I really cared, I could hammer and dolly the slight dimples out of it. But I would use something different as far as wheels. I would use things that were much bigger so they had a better, wider contact patch and weren't putting so much pressure on them. So if you have questions, Brian, just email me, Chad@BangShift, and I'll help you figure some stuff out. But it works. It was a good idea. It worked good on that thing. So Brian's asking, how did you keep it from moving forward if you had to get on the brakes hard? It was exactly the size from the back of the middle seat to the tailgate. and it was in fact tapered so it fit up against the back of the seat like this, and it was only a couple of inches from the tailgate, like barely. In fact, I had to do a dip in the middle of the rail to reach the handle on the tailgate, so it couldn't move around in there. And we pushed it up against the seat back, and then I had two things that wedged in between it and the tailgate to keep it from rattling back and forth, so it couldn't move far enough to do that. So if you had the back seat down, we would have had to have tied it or put something in there to keep it from rolling around. So yeah. All right. Yeah. So there you go. Good question. Anybody have any questions? Remember, in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can chat with us and we'll answer whatever you got. So, I got the idea, by the way. I didn't make this idea. I got it from a dude that had, and I can't remember his name, but a guy on Drag Week years ago with a standard cab short bed square body pickup. And he had a similar setup and it was pretty cool. So, it worked good. All right. So where can people go if they want to find out about the tailgate throwdown so they can come spectate or race? How do they find out more info?
Tailgate Throwdown on Facebook is the best place. It's we've got a public page up. You can go there. It's got the rules. It's got the date. It's got the place. We've got some awesome sponsors on board now. We've got the Line Lock podcast, the Blood Brothers Racing YouTube channel, Corey and Chris. They're awesome. They're going to be sponsoring the street class and they're also bringing a badass truck to run in the outlaw class, like a 40, I think it's 49 to like 53, big tire truck with a blown small block. Then we've got Davis Glass Company on board, and then we've got Classic Truck National. So it's kind of shaping up to be something pretty awesome. I'm really excited.
That's great.
About it. We've got some good class. We got small tire. We got outlaw. We've got mini street. We've got stick shift. We got a couple of stick shift trucks that look like they're going to be pretty healthy. So
that's cool.
I'm hoping some stick shift trucks come out of the woodwork because I really, you know me, I love stick racing.
Oh yeah,
that's my.
Hey,
yeah,
Jeff,
go over there, check it out. Evan, let's do it.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's great. Well, and along those lines, everybody, if you're out there at home watching, get out in the shop and work. I'm still trying to finish up my shop, but we're getting dangerously close. And that means that I've been working on project plans and talking to, folks about parts and figuring out what parts we're going to put on them and all those things. And you need to do the same. If you were trying to do stuff during the off season is about done. So racing has started and car shows are coming to wherever you are, even if you're in the north. So make sure you get your stuff rocking and rolling. And, Ryan and I've talked about this a bunch of times. It's a lot of fun to work on cars with your buddies. So, plan it out to where you can get your friends to come over. Tell them you'll bribe them with pizza and beer.
Yeah.
Have them come over to the house and help you thrash on a project for a day or two or a few hours. It doesn't even matter. And if you guys trade off on going to each other's places or bringing a car over to the buddy that's got a shop or whatever, you guys can do some cool stuff and get some things done. Doug Cook at Motion Raceworks is very fond of saying an hour a day will get a lot of stuff done. And he's right. If you work on your car an hour a day, it's amazing because an hour a day will turn into an hour and a half, once or twice a week, or maybe 3 hours. And you'll get a lot more stuff done than you can imagine, especially because, nothing's worse than working on your car on a Saturday. And then, 2 weeks later, you go back to it. Like you didn't finish what you were doing. So 2 weeks later, you go back and you spend the first hour trying to figure out what the hell it is that you did and where you were at, in the process. But if you're working an hour a day, you never lose track of where you're at, and you can keep moving forward to it. So it's
so true. That's where it happened with me on this. I mean, I was in the middle of doing this truck when the building company was ready to come do the shop, and I had to stop everything. and I spend half my day Saturday going to the hardware store getting missing bolts and all kinds of stuff that I had organized, but became very disorganized when this all happened. So
Right.
stay on the gas,
Well, and the the reason we were talking about the Pro Street stuff is because you were telling me that it sort of gave you the kick in the butt. So what why what caused that? Why did you need a kick in the ass?
Well, I mean, I think everybody gets down in the dumps here and there. You get a lot of stuff going on, a lot of irons in the fire. You're not really accomplishing anything. You've got a lot of stuff going, but you're not getting to the finish line anywhere, and it gets a little overwhelming at times. And I mean, it happens at work. So you have your job, and sometimes, like right now, we just got started in storm season, right, for me, and it's a lot of I'm running around like crazy. I'm not feeling like I'm getting anything accomplished. The stuff that I get done, I get twice as much by the end of the day, so it feels like I didn't make a dent. This shop's taking forever. The extension, the foam, trying to get the electrical stuff, and it slows you down. So then you come out here and look at your project, and you haven't touched it in a while, and now everything's strode everywhere, and you got to remember where you were at. So I got bummed out. Like I quit. I haven't made a YouTube video in a month. I think I made some crap one to show everybody what's going on because, it's just been a lot of twiddling my thumbs, and it kind of gets you in the dumps there, and then we've been waiting on Jake's motor. Dave's got Jake's motor about done. So we went to go check it out and take him some parts this weekend. And that got him pumped up, and that got me pumped up. And, because we've been wanting to get this S10 thing going, and now we've got the space to do it. And so
I love it.
We came and Sunday, we put in a good amount of work on it and made some headway. And so I'm feeling pretty good. But, I started trying to remember, like, where the love for it went, like how come I just shut it off? And we were looking at some old pictures the other day, and I ran across some old pictures I had taken as a kid, back in the early 90s at a car show. And there was, that's right. That's it. And so I ran across some old Pro Street pictures, and I was like, oh my gosh, man, and I was telling Jake about Pro Street, and we were, I was telling him about certain cars that I'd seen and what, for instance, the J I sent you, right? The famous J2000 that car was in a magazine years ago. I don't know what magazine it was in. It's probably Popular Hot Rodding or something like that. And I was in art class at school, and we had to make collages, right? And so that was, I go through these magazines, and they had some car magazines in there, and I open it up, and there's that car. And so I start cutting it out, and that was like the centerpiece of my collage. And that car right there, like I remember seeing it going, oh my God, dude, that's so badass, like,
oh yeah,
how do you do something like that? And then, I started and it's different, like for Jake, right? Kids his age, you don't see Pro Street stuff running around. But back when I was a kid, you would see cars on the road like that. And when you saw it in person, it was like, oh God, dude, I've got to have something like that, And that car right there is kind of what started it. And then I started going down a rabbit hole, and I realized that he had built that Nova, right? The twin turbo, twin charged small block Nova. And I mean, you look at that. I mean, the car splits open. That was cool. I mean, it's like a funny car. It's cool.
Oh yeah. Well, and so Dobberton's Nova, the car you're talking, this is the J2000 right here, but the Nova, which is right here, that car, has spent the last decade at least here in North Texas. And has been at Good Guy shows a jillion times and all over the place. But that thing is, Scott Sullivan is sort of, credited with being the, the godfather of Pro Street, his Chevy 2 Nova, which happened to be blue as well, was like the first Pro Street car, quote unquote. This thing was right there next, soon after. Dobberton's always, marched to the beat of a different drummer. This thing is twin turbocharged, into the hat on top of the blower. The turbos are both draw through, so there's a carburetor there that feeds into the turbo. It's crazy. Jet Black says, those mesh air cleaners lose big horsepower. Probably, but it doesn't matter. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about the Pro Street stuff, tonight is, these cars for the most part had no horsepower or very little in comparison to what you would consider to be big power today. We were at the Grand National Roadster Show. And again, we talked about a bunch of this during, our Pro Street discussion with Brett Vocal and Crosby and the gang 2 weeks ago on Thursday. And, and we had, Brett had his Pro Street Mustang, there at the Grand National. It's funny because his Pro Street Mustang has has a blown small block Ford in it that, fuel injected, even back then. Now it has Holley EFI on it, but here's this car. This thing made like 580 horsepower or something like that, 600 horsepower. That's a lot of horsepower. I don't care. Like, I've owned multiple 500 horse street cars. That's real power. I've also owned ones that make over 1,000. So, nowadays we're used to it being so easy to make the power. But the truth of the matter is Pro Street cars were loud, obnoxious, and extreme. Mm-hmm. And most of them were not fast at all. And that was okay. They weren't pretending to be fast. They were just being badass. And, there was a point when people started bagging on them for not being, fast. But the truth of the matter is, like, that just didn't matter because it didn't matter to the guy that built the car, and it's his car. So everybody else could suck it, I mean, this car here is Gary Buckles' Camaro. So this thing it is as smooth as is possible. Okay. This was never one of my favorite Pro Street cars. I mean, it sits right. It does all the things right, except for two things. The wheels, I couldn't stand them. I can't stand the 2-blade wheels. They just make my OCD-ness not like it. And the fact that it didn't even pretend to be a race car. Like, there's no roll bar in this car. There's nothing sticking out of the hood. It was very odd because of that. So it wasn't my favorite. But here's the thing. That thing had a 350 horsepower TPI crate motor in it. It still does today. I have current pictures of this car. It was at the Grand National. Gary drove this car like 60 or 70,000 miles in a 5 or 6 or 8 year period during the Pro Street craze. Like, he drove this car everywhere. It has a bitchin' molded interior in it and all this stuff. The amount of work into this thing is crazy, but it has like a 700 R4 and a 350 in it, and it just drives everywhere. To this day, he drives the shit out of it. So, so I can't like bitch about it and say anything's wrong with it just because it's not my favorite,
Yeah. Well, see, for me, that car, what I thought was neat about that car is the fact that it didn't have all the Pro Street stuff about it. Like, it didn't have something coming out of the hood. And so when I first saw it, I didn't like it at first either. It had to grow on me. But over time, when I got into like the late 90s and the mini trucking craze was nuts, right? I was not building mini. I was hanging out with mini truck guys and they were building mini trucks, but I was building, like, I had a 70 Corvette that I built like a mini truck. It was hammered to the ground. The exhaust, like, I had to oval the exhaust and it would scrape the ground on any type of
every bump. Yeah.
I had 18s or 19-inch, 10-inch wide wheels in the back. It wasn't Pro Street by any means, but I had to live within my means. But a car like that car kind of gave me the idea I had for my vet. And
Right.
people gave me the same kind of thing. They mostly hated it. If they were a purist, they hated it. But people that were my age were like, holy crap, I never have seen a Corvette done like that. And
Right.
so you had a 50-50 split. And so to me, that car was kind of like the reason behind the way I built my Corvette back then. And
I love you for that, because here's the funny thing. So, I mean, you know, I have my 69 Camaro convertible. That thing was an NHRA stock eliminator car most of its life, and my street race car, and I've taken it on dragon drives and, you know, all the things, right? It's slower than it's ever been. Well, right now it doesn't have a motor in it, but with the motor it just had in it recently, was slower than it's ever been. And yet we had a great time on Rocky Mountain Race Week with it. I should have sprayed it and it would have been more fun, but it was still a riot. Like, we had a great time with that car. But now it's a convertible, right? And so if I want to race that car, I have to cage it. Okay. And it has to have real cage in it or it's not legal, right? So, I mean, right now it's not legal anyway. Like, it passed tech. I don't know how they just didn't realize. But yeah, they did. Literally, they're like, yeah, you're legal for $11.49. I'm like, clearly you don't know there's a convertible rule, because the convertible rule is $13.49 is the quickest you can go with no roll bar, and then $11.49 is the quickest with a roll bar. Then you have to have a cage. So anyway, I love that car. Like, it's the greatest, and it's always been extreme and loud and all these things. And you know, it's always had like 456 or 513 gears in it and a bunch of converter and all the things. I'm considering right now putting a big block in the thing, and putting a big block in it that is nasty and rowdy sounding. I don't care how much horsepower it makes. Whatever camshaft it should have, it's going to have one even bigger than that. Okay. Even if it kills 100 horsepower, don't care, right? It needs to sound ludicrous. I may put my Turbo 400 with the clutch in front of it in it, or just use my Glide, whatever. That car needs a little bit of rust repair and like the rear wheel lips and stuff. I may do some of that. I may mini tub the thing. I don't think I'd ever back half it, because then I'd want to cage it, but I might mini tub it a little bit to put it on a little bit bigger tire. But ultimately, either way, like, it'll get a 28 1050, maybe a Sportsman Pro or something, and be low, skinnies, fatties, do big giant burnouts. That's all I care about. So the reality is, it's going to be a pro street car. Like, it may not have a big enough tire to be a pro street car, but it's going to be a fair ground cruiser and a go down the road car. Like, that's just what it would be, you know, and that's okay.
Yeah, and that's where I was going. That's where I was going with it, right? So the whole thing that as I got more into putting stuff together and build my own stuff and racing, I started to turn away from Pro Street, because the fact that they look tough, but they typically weren't fast. And so when I was like 16, well, actually, I'm going to back up. When I was like 9. I'm sitting in a red light with my dad. He had an El Camino, and I thought it was the shit. And, you know, it was, it was a G-body El Camino. It wasn't anything, but I thought it was just the cat's meow, you know. And there was a guy in town that lived in Hearst, and he had a red 69 Camaro just like that. It's set just like that, nose down, ass up, wheelie bars out the back. It was red. It had a blown big block in it and a 4-speed. And this guy was cruising down the boulevard, and I told my dad, I said, Dad, catch up to him, you know. And he got up next to him. And I was like, race him, Dad. He's like, no, I'm not racing him, you know. And we get to the red light, and the guy stops and lets me look at it. He has long hair, you know, and he was like, you like race cars, kid? And I was like, yeah. He goes, hell yeah. And when the light turned green, he dumped the clutch and lit it up through the intersection. And then I was like, pow, you know, like,
right.
God. And so when I see this car, I cannot find. I was trying like hell to find this guy, because I actually later on in life realized who he was. He used to own a shop in Las Colinas where they like a machine shop, I believe. It was called Red Man Racing, and he was like a Choctaw Indian guy, little short dude. Yeah. And so like fast forward to when I was 16 years old, I had my first Chevelle. I'm out cruising around, and I stopped at a buddy of mine's shop in Hearst over in the the downtown area, and here he goes cruising by, and he sees my car, and he turns around and pulls in. He goes, "Dude, that's a sweet Chevelle. You want to line them up?" And I'm like, "I'm not racing you, but that's so cool. I get to see this car again." And so we ended up talking, and he had hit some cruise spots. And I just, I think about when I look at a Pro Street car. This is kind of where I'm at in my head, and where I'm getting at with this whole thing, is that Pro Street is to some people is just it was an era that there's cars still around, but it didn't really prevail like some other things did. And to me, it's like everything. And the reason why, like, you take a kid like Jake, right? He doesn't see these cars going down the road anymore, right?
Right.
I can't tell you the last time I saw a Pro Street car cruising around, but
Right.
I used to see them all the time when I was a kid. So if it wasn't for me, right, Jake has seen a lot of stuff, and he's been around a lot of stuff. He's had a window into that world of hot rods that most kids don't get, right?
Right.
And what I love about these cars is when you do see one going down the road, by God, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a Vega, it could be a Chevette, it could be anything. But if it's got fat tires and something sticking out of the hood, or it's loud and obnoxious, it's going to catch your eye, and it sparks something in a kid, because it looks like a cartoon, like it looks unreal,
Yes.
and
that's inspiring. It makes you go, "Oh my God, I want one."
Yeah, I don't want to pay for one, but I want one. It's so bad.
Well, and I would argue that, like you said that, it was this one era, it was whatever, but I would argue, so this display that was on at the Grand National, right, that you can see in the background, was a display of street machines then and now. Okay. And so it was like OG Pro Streeters and newer Pro Streeters, right? And the newer Pro Streeters, some of which were like big tire cars, but on like 22s, like the big giant. It's not my look either, but whatever. And then there were some what you would consider to be more pro touring cars, okay, as well, right, to represent other, new street machines. And there was some stuff that was sort of street freakish, but not all the way. But here's the thing: like this Corvette here is Rod Sabori's. That car was the first fast Pro Street car in the country. Actually, second. He was known for always like this thing was an 8-second car before 8-second street cars existed. And so this thing he raced a lot. The other one of Rod's is the 69 Camaro that I was, had shown before. So this car is actually a real 69 Z28. It is small block powered with the blower. It still has the M22 Rock Crusher 4-speed in it. And it has a Dana 60 in it. And is obviously tubbed and all that. This car won Super Stock Eliminator at a couple of NHRA national events and stuff, like before it was a Pro Street car, quote unquote, before he was driving it on the street. Like this thing has cool history. But what I would argue is the extreme nature of Pro Street cars is why at some level that extreme mini trucks exist, that extreme pro touring cars exist, that extreme anything cars that you actually drive, right? Because before Pro Street, we can say that they were all, show, right? But like Matt and Debbie Hayes, okay, everybody knows this Thunderbird of theirs. Everybody knew their old Sierra, okay, that came after that was the white car that ran on methanol. And literally took like 30 gallons of methanol for it to idle around the fairgrounds for, a day. Those cars actually moved. Anything at that extreme level before was an indoor show car, right? They only sat at an indoor show. They didn't get driven at all. In fact, some of them, indoor show cars, like it depends on where you're showing them. but a lot of them don't have to run or anything. So the truth is that like when they're all chromed engines and all that, some of them don't run. They don't have they don't have rods and pistons in them even, they're just pushed around, right? With dummy polished up stuff, which is okay, right? They're a piece of artwork. But these things were so extreme that they made people like think, okay, I want my driver thing to be this extreme. And as a result, I mean, again, Brett vocal at Ride Tech with that, Mustang I was just showing, that's the car he invented air ride for. Okay. He's the inventor. Started with air ride technologies, now Ride Tech. Like, that's what car started that. Think about all the laid out mini trucks in the world. Think about all the extreme, pro touring cars and everything else that are really not that obnoxious when you compare it to this, right? But if this had not existed, they would be crazy obnoxious. So I think Pro Street did a lot more than it gets credit for in the car community. So
and I think it spilled over into trucks too. Like you look at, like, I know you remember back in the 90s, they used to have all these 4-wheel drive magazines, and you'd always see the flipped forward hoods, the dump bed, everything's chrome, big blow motor. And I was looking at one today, actually, as a matter of fact, a friend of mine sent me one. And I was like, man, Pro Street really inspired that.
That's a good point, because the show truck that was lifted to the moon on 44s, and it was, on Super Swampers or on, on Groundhogs or whatever. And like you said, had 18 chrome shocks on it and all those things. There was nothing about that was off-road capable at all. It was the Pro Street car of 4-wheel drive trucks. You're 100% right. Like, and that was all the same era.
Yeah. And so when you so my head, changed more towards racing and was like, I don't like Pro Street anymore because they're not fast. You always look at the Pro Street car and go, it's weak. That thing's weak, but now you see guys building, or revamping some of these cars, and they're adding power to them. And you see some of them cruising and they line them up down the strip. There's a guy that's I don't know his name. I don't know half these guys' names. I just remember the cars, photographic memories from magazines, right? But there's a guy that's been going around the last few years. He's always at the Pro Street Nationals and all that stuff. In DeQuinn or somewhere.
DeQuinn. Yep, DeQuinn. Yep.
Yeah. So he has a black G-body Malibu, and it's got a big block in it, and it is a bad machine. And he's been caught, like he had a couple years ago did a burnout, like a rolling burnout down the boulevard out there, and it was like he did it for 3 blocks. Like,
right.
No applied, bud, just straight power, letting it rip, spinning those big old tires, and I was like, man, dude, that thing is bad. So I started looking around and following him and found more videos. I'm like, so that's where I'm like, okay, I love that people are taking the thing that I used to go, they're slow, they're weak, and they're like taking them to the next level and making them actually function. And
you said it was black G-body blown car, you said?
Yeah, it's got a big block in it. He ended up getting pulled over after doing some big burnout, and they gave, they wrote him all kinds of tickets.
It might be this one. Let me see. We'll see. If not, inspired by.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, let me trade what we're looking at for another screen, and let's see if this is the one. Is it that bad boy?
That's it right there.
There you go.
Dude, that car is business.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at it. Come on.
And it's beautiful. Like, it's absolutely beautiful. It encompasses everything Pro Street, and then takes it and makes it also badass and fast.
Right. Yeah.
I bet that car, I mean, and it's set up like the guy builds some nice stuff. It is a bad car.
I mean, it's got a funny car cage in it and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah. It is. The blower surge in that car is monstrous.
Well, okay. And that's one of the things that's funny. So like Brett and I, we laugh about it because Brett worked at BDS blowers, okay, for a long time. Blower surge is just not, there's no, like, you don't have to have blower surge. Like, you can tune that out of anything. Like, whether it's carbureted, fuel injected, it's super easy. It's not a big deal. You can get rid of blower surge at all, no problem. But why would you? I mean, if you're going to cruise around the fairgrounds, even if mine was fuel injected where the thing would just idle like a rental car, I'm telling you that I would have a surge tune that I used for at the fairgrounds because everybody wants to hear it.
You have to have blower surge. And, so, what I didn't even really put together until just now, actually, I probably have a million times, but it just hit me. The Australians have been doing it. Like, they've been having pro street cars that actually make, power forever. And I'm telling you, I've heard people say, oh, you need to tune the blower surge out. You need to tune the blower surge out of that. No. Anytime you watch a video from Australia, do you ever say, God, I wish they'd tune the blower surge out of that? Hell no. That's what makes it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to try to stage with it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I get that. That would be a nightmare. I bet that would be a nightmare. But
wait, what?
Blood Brothers. He's got that blown. He's got that blown small block.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is funny. That's true. Yeah. I'm trying to look up my buddy Chuck Schradel's car. Chuck's car is epic. He has a 65 Impala that, in my opinion, is one of the baddest pro street cars on the planet. Chuck has had this car for forever. I think he got it in like 1969 or 72 or something. I don't know. It was in the, it wasn't new when he got it, but he bought this thing because he wanted a Camaro, and his parents said no, he couldn't have a Camaro because that was a hot rod. So instead, he got this 65 Impala. Okay. And they were like, yeah, it's a full-size car, right? Well, 65 is an important year for Impalas because it is the first year or the last year of the 409 and the first year of the big block, right? So it could have come with a 409 if it was an early car, or a 396 if it was a late car. Well, his was a late car. So his has got or had a 396 in it. The thing about it is that for Chuck, he was, all about pro street and, wanted a pro street car and, all of that. And so it got more and more extreme over all the years. Well, this car now today looks like this, and I'll share it. I have been fortunate enough to drive this car on a couple of occasions, and it is an absolute riot. So this thing is on air ride all the way around. It's got a bitchin' built, turbo 400 in it. It has got a 555 cubic inch big block Chevrolet that runs on methanol. That is a not current, but 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, that was the blower and injector hat that would have been on a top alcohol dragster. It is taller than the roof of the car. The thing is an absolute riot to drive. And it's bitching, and he's had it forever. It's his first car. He'll never get rid of it, and it is truly something special. And it's one of those cars that anywhere you go, with it, people lose their minds. And one thing that's funny, we talk about the blower surge. This thing will surge if you want it to. But the funny thing is that this thing has, because it's mechanically injected, right? So up front, it has a small fuel tank that is fed from a big fuel tank. Okay. And that small fuel tank has a Holly float bowl mounted to the side of it. Okay. And so that's how it knows to keep filling itself right from the pump. But it also has one small injector in the back of the hat and a Holly blue pump that goes from that little tank, and you push it and it primes the fuel system. It gives it fuel so it'll start, right? So you don't have to be outside of it squirting it.
Yeah, squirting it. Yeah.
We never start it with that when we're at a show. You're at a show, you squirt that bitch. I mean, people want to see you squirt it, right? So whoever's riding shotgun gets out,
primes it up,
pulls the throttle open, gives it a big squirt, sits there, dribbles it while it cranks, and it fires up and big huff. The exhaust comes out right here at the back of the right behind the wheel, under the fender. It's obnoxious in all the ways. It's rad. Like, it's unbelievably awesome. And I love it, and who wouldn't, right?
Hell yeah. Yeah. And that's, I'm telling you, man, I started going through these pictures and started looking at stuff. I'm on the couple of Pro Street pages, on Facebook, and I started going there. And, because I kind of got discouraged on the Chevelle. I kind of, I realized, and I'm like, hey, I only have so much money. I've got this truck to finish. I got my kid's truck to finish, and I thought about it. I'm like, maybe I should just get rid of the Chevelle, make myself more room, give it up, and, let it go. Cause, but then I do this and I see these things and I'm like, no. I'm going to do, I don't care if it takes me 10 years. I'm going to build the thing that inspired me. I'm going to turn that thing into a Pro Street car. It's going to have
the Chevelle. You're going to make the Chevelle into a Pro Streeter.
I'm going to make it a Pro Street car.
Okay. I write here in public for everybody I will do any amount of welding and fabrication you need done to that car. I commit to doing it. So when it's time to back half it, we're going to get a back half kit. You're going to bring it over to the shop. We're going to do it. 100%, no question. Yep. I'm all in. Let's go.
Yeah. I want to cut it to pieces. And
I love it.
Get it.
Why not?
Without having to put a chassis under it, because I don't think I can afford it. Unless I find a chassis.
We could build a chassis for really cheap for that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do a strut front end. We can do like a Fox body strut. Pretty easy. 2x3 box tubing's cheap. We could do that, especially for the front clip. Like, all you need is a couple of mandrel bends, dude. We could do it fairly inexpensive. And then you just save the stock chassis and don't mess with it, because you're not going to have any of the cleanup and all the bullshit to deal with on it. Right. And all of the reinforcement and all that. We can just start with a 2x3 box tubing chassis. It'll get the car lower and all that. Like, might as well. If you're going to do it, let's do it. Let's go all the way. Why not?
Yeah.
I'm in.
I mean, I look at that car and I thought, man, that is what I always wanted as a kid.
Yeah.
And I've never had it. I've never done it.
So, Rebel driver Scott Liggett, he owns a 65 Impala that he's had for a long time. And he says the only cool Pro Street is a 65 Impala Pro Street. And I they're all good. Nick Scavo's 65 Impala, dude, come on. That thing's super fast and fun. The cars, all the fastest street car stuff, that was the change from Pro Street just being cool to Pro Street being fast. And that was pretty neat. Brian Mackey says just swap it onto an old race car. That's actually not a bad idea too. You might find a parts car, a donor car that would work, but yeah, I think it's great. Lycan put up a question a little bit ago about, did any Pro Street cars have the exhaust poking out the trunk lid? I have a Hot Wheels of a 64 Impala with a big ass blower out the hood and the trunk exhaust. And I'm curious if it's Pro Street inspired. I don't remember one being that way, but it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
because they did a lot of crazy stuff,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Long live Pro Street. You know, when I was 16, I had my first 67. That car was pretty rotted. It needed a lot of work, and
yeah,
I was really green. And so I remember I cruised by this shop over off of 377 in it was at Haltom City, I guess, or Watauga, somewhere over there. But there was a body shop called Perfection Auto Body,
right.
and it was the boot. I wonder if I could get my car painted. I wonder if I can. I had no clue, and so I
Right.
pulled in there, and there was a Pro Street Nash Metropolitan with a big blower sticking out of the hood. It was cream and like kind of seafoam green, I think,
Right.
and it
Right.
had flames on it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then next to it was another Pro Street, like Willie's truck. And I went inside and I was like, I want to get a quote to get my car painted. And they came outside and looked it over and said, you do realize this is FUBAR. I was
Right.
like, no, I didn't know that. And so I remember they quoted me like, which is laughable now. I think they quoted me like $8,000,
Right.
and now that would cost you probably 3 times that. But as bad as that car was, maybe 4 times that. But I remember seeing that Nash, and I was like, dude, whose Nash is this? He goes, oh, it's my dad's. And so I was talking to Jimmy Boudreaux, and I was like, what's it got in it? He popped the hood, and I'll never forget it. They made it drive in the center, so the driver was in the center, and
Right.
he had these little bitty areas where he could put his grandkids in, but the driver drove in the center, and it had a 4.3 liter V6 with a 671 blower on it.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, what?
I approve.
Yeah. Troy Terpain. Yeah.
So-
Didn't Troy Terpain did he do a 65 or did he do a Impala?
He's done multiple. Yeah, he's done a bunch of Impalas.
Yeah, like a seafoam green one, right? A Pro Street.
Oh yeah, the seafoam green car was his dad's, and it was 59 or 60. So no, Scott, it was not at Grand National Roadster Show. Okay, here's another one that I've got to share with you. So this is so Brian Mackey is in the chat right now, and Brian is in the chat, and he said, just swap it onto an old race car. He says my Falcon wagon is on a retired Pro Mod, so he's not kidding. So if you're not familiar, this was the Pro Mod car that it was on. Okay, and so Brian, he does drag and drive events with this thing. All right. And Brian's a hell of a nice guy, like super cool and super fun. So literally took, this Falcon wagon, okay, put it on that chassis. And here's, what.
Oh, I've seen the car.
Yes. Yeah. So this is what it took. So here's why this is funny. When you look at the car, like, it's cool, right? It's bitching. It's funny because you're like, man, the engine's set way back. Look at where the bullhorn is compared to the door, right? It's like, this is rad. And again, remember, it was a 4-door wagon. Okay, that's a 4-door wagon. Okay, and now it's not. Now it's a 2-door wagon. But this thing, if you look at it, okay, you can see all the cage inside it. Okay. And all in here, and it's funny because look at where the cage is. It's way back here. It doesn't fit this car, okay? But it works.
Yeah.
And it's a riot, and the thing's fast, and it's fun, and people love it. And it's way more car than it ever needs to be. And it's a riot, dude. It's awesome. Brian says that he drove that Pro Mod up until 2007. So that was a running and driving and competing Pro Mod until 2007. And then it was sitting, and so that's what he did with it. I love it.
Here's to you, Brian. It's a water, but here's to you. That's absolutely badass.
Right? Yeah, Brian's a good dude. I've talked to him a few times at Rocky Mountain Race Week and stuff. Just a hell of a nice guy. And it's bitching because it looks it looks weird at first. I mean, and Brian's heard this. I'm not hurting his feelings and I'm not bashing on him at all. Please don't take it that way. It's odd, right? You look at it, you're like, what in the hell is going on here? And then you realize and you're like, oh my God. Like, and it fits because all of the parts that mismatch and all that as far as the body and everything, it's like, how do we build a really bitchin' race car that can go down the street also on the cheap with junk we already have? It just so happens his junk was a Pro Mod chassis. My junk and your junk is not. That's what he had, right?
Junk.
Right. He says it was a lot of work, but it really wasn't that hard. And honestly, that's the same as you know, my 56 Chevy wagon. I did the chassis swap on and everything. Was a ton of work, but it wasn't hard work. It required just fiddling and measuring and, you know, all that stuff. But yeah, Brian says it fits good enough for me. And it is, dude, it fits good enough for me too, brother. I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And Stuart is saying, and don't the rear quarter panels come off? Yes, they do, so that you can change the tires and stuff. So yeah, it's cool. It's a really bitchin' car. It is.
That's the only downside to a Pro Street car is changing tires.
It ain't just Pro Street cars, dude. My 56, because the fender well on the 56 is so little and it's laid out all the way on the ground on the rockers, you have to unhook the shocks and you have to jack up one side of the rear end to get the other to droop far enough to pull the wheel and tire off. It sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, it sucks squared to have to do wheels and tires on. Yeah.
And so, the price.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, Dave bought Pro Street 1515 wheels for his blue C10, and he's got tires, and all he has to do is swap some coilovers on the back.
Right.
Tub. So he's fixing to be in Steamroller Nation with his C10.
Nice.
Yeah, but he did like my buddy, gosh, I'm having a brain fart. My buddy with the Rat Rod and the Econoline stuff that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. God dang.
I don't know. He's your friend, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So he runs the dirt track tires. You know, the sprint car tires.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What was that?
Scott saying, yeah, this makes Rusty, my 56, the perfect drag and drive car. 2 hour, wheel and tire swaps. Of course, that's exactly what you want in a drag and drive.
Perfect.
Yeah. Don't worry, with the changes that are going to happen to that thing for it to become my drag and drive car, one of them is going to be quick release dropping the ass end out of it. Let me tell you. So, yeah.
Shannon. His name was Shannon, damn it.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think that I think that I hope the takeaway everybody has from this is that extreme stuff like Pro Street cars, even if they're not what you love, even if they weren't as functional, quote unquote, as other hot rods, if they inspire you to do what you want to do, then that's all that matters. It's funny to correlate this to this, but this weekend, I went to Wimberley, you know where Wimberley is? Wimberley, Texas. It's down southwest of Austin.
Where Duddy lives. Yeah.
Oh, Duddy lives down there?
About an hour from there, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I was down near Duddyville then. And we were down there and we're at this restaurant. We're at the Salt Lick and they have a winery now. So we're sitting there doing this wine tasting thing. And there's a group of us. And we're all standing there talking about, oh, it's peppery or it's this or it's that, right? And I start laughing.
Yeah.
Because some of us like one and don't like another or whatever, and, this and that. And I said, I started telling a story about some wine snobs I know. Wine tasting is like, you can really learn how to like define the things and all that. But ultimately, who cares? Like, if you taste it and it tastes good to you, I don't give a shit if it comes out of a box and says Franzia on it. If it's the wine you like, fucking drink it. Like, who cares, right? And it's the same way with cars, trucks, whether it's Pro Street or whatever inspires you to get out there in the shop and work on your junk or build your dream Pro Streeter like Ryan's talking about. I would love to have a Pro Street car. I'll tell you, and I know that Scott Liggett will remember this, and you probably will too, Ryan. For decades, Hot Rod Magazine, when you open the magazine, all the stupid the subscription papers, those little rectangles, remember, would fall out of the magazine, right?
Yeah.
And it was for you to renew or to subscribe or whatever.
Yep.
And they always had a picture of a car on them. Forever, one of those, because there were multiple per magazine, one of those was a red 69 Camaro Pro Street car, red with white stripes, blower sticking out of the hood. It was bitching. Yep. And I always wanted a Pro Street car like that. I'll tell you that my dream car before I got my Camaro was a 69 Chevelle. I wanted a big block 69 Chevelle. If I found the right deal after I finished some other projects, if I found the right deal on a 68 or 9 Chevelle, because I could make a 68 into a 69 with the right taillights, that was something rusted out where it needed, floors and all that junk anyway, and it was dirt cheap, and I could build it into a Pro Street 69 Chevelle, bet I would have that. Like, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why this car is perfect, because it's got the new pan in the trunk, but it's not welded in. It's screwed in, and it's got the wheelhouses in it, but they're just tacked in.
Yeah.
I mean, all that can,
and it needs quarters. And it needs quarters.
Yeah. So all that
and there is no easier time to do wheel tubs than when the quarters are already off the thing. So
exactly. Long live the Pro Street, dude.
I mean, this thing needs a 33 2150 under the ass end of it at least. Yeah. Or maybe even a 34. Needs a set of 16s or 15s on it. Oh yeah. 100%.
Wheelie bars. It has to have wheelie
bars.
Yes.
Convo Pros or something, whatever, center lines, whatever your wheel was then. Yes. 100%.
I think I'd like to find a set of Super Tricks and have them anodized gold.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue with you.
Yeah, I've thought about that.
Hard to argue with you on that.
Yeah, I'd like the car to be blacked out windows, and anodized gold Super Tricks.
So I love weld wheels, of course. Who doesn't? I am a centerline wheels guy compared to a Super Trick. So this thing has the monocoques on it, which are cool. But these center lines here, like, oh yeah, give me lumber. Like, I'm all in on that deal. Yeah. The Super Trick's the same thing. Instead of rivets, it has bolts. I mean, it's, Krager versus Centerline. Like, they were great, The J2000 has monocoques on it. I mean, come on, that's some welds. The ones that let's see here, the ones on Brett's car, I can't even remember what the hell wheels are on it. I don't remember. I want to say welds that are satin. Yeah, they are. So it's got satin welds on it, where they've been Scotch-Brighted.
Yeah, on the Mustang.
Yeah, on the Mustang. And I mean, just look at that. I mean, what's not to love, so. And this is the inside of this thing. I mean, it's like super comfy and all that. Here's the big thing that a lot of people don't even realize on this car is if you look at this thing, Brett's car, you'll notice that it has a hatch in the back. They did not come with that. Brett says that he has like 4,000 hours to build the hatch. Right? The hatch was the hugest deal for him to build. He said it was insane. And it, like, the car has flush glass and flat glass on the sides and a bunch of other stuff, but the hatch you like notice right away, But look at that thing. I mean, that's badass, dude. Yeah. A blower that only hangs out of the hood just a little bit is as cool as one that hangs out a shit ton. Like, you want one or the other. It needs to just peek out or it needs to be all out,
Yeah. Like that red 69 Camaro that's got the two big blowers and the turbos hanging out way up here.
It's a Mustang. It's a Mustang. Yeah.
Oh, I thought there was a red Camaro that has it too. Is there not?
Oh, there may be, but there was one here at the show. Oh, wait, by the way, that Corvette, dude, I'm in love. I would drive that thing like it was
If I
my
ever built
job.
another Corvette, it would be like a street freak like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I forgot
I've got pictures of that Mustang somewhere, but yeah, it's a weird one, but it's too much. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. For me, it's too much. I mean, good for him. It's, pretty and all that.
I want to be the guy. I want to be Red Man Racing. I want to be the guy who's driving his down the road and romps on it from a red light and makes a kid smile. That's what I want.
Right. Exactly.
Like,
yep.
I don't even care if mine has a nice paint job on it. There's a guy on one of the Pro Street pages named Marty Eden. And if anybody's on here that is on that page, you know who I'm talking about. The guy spends minimal dollars to build Pro Street stuff. He'll get Vegas and stretch the nose on them to make them look like old funny cars, but he does it out of like old fenders and stuff.
Yes.
And then he'll run the fenders or just some whatever exhaust over the top of the fenders and do all kinds of stuff. And he lives his best life, and he never has a paint job on any of them. He has a great time with them.
That's true. I love it. Agreed.
Yeah.
Now, if I was going to do my Chevelle, my dream Chevelle, and I actually was going to paint something, it would be orange. And it would have to have like a 90s Pro Street, graphic on it. Like, let's see here, like probably something along the lines of, probably something similar to Rod's Camaro here. Yeah, a little less cool than, like a little less trick than Brett's.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I'd want that 90s Pro Street look to it. Like
vibrant looking.
Yeah, it would have to have that, because that's just rad. Like, I don't know, but it does it for me. I mean, if we look at these, I mean, just look at that. Like, that graphic is so 90s. It's, late 80s and 90s. Yeah. So is that, like, yeah. This, I mean, the Nova has it in spades right there. Like, it would have to have it. I can't tell you the number of pencil drawings I did of a 69 Chevelle Pro Street car with all that graphic on it. I mean, too many times to count. Right? Like, didn't we all as kids?
Scallops,
right?
Dude. Like, I always did. When I would draw mine, I would do jagged edge scallops down.
Yeah.
I'd color them in. Some
dude,
color.
Okay.
I love
then your car needs to be black.
Stuff to throw back.
It needs to be black with like teal scallops.
Yes.
Dude.
With a hot pink. Hot pink pinstripe going around it. Come on, dude. Come on. Put a roll cage in it.
I'm going to need a moment alone, please.
Tweed interior.
Duh. You're not doing it right if it doesn't have tweed interior.
Come on.
100%. Oh, my God.
Jesus. Yeah. See, I hope whoever's watching is like, God dang, I want to go watch some Pro Street National videos from the 90s.
Right? I'm telling you. That's it. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress.
Scott Liggett says the roll cage needs to be teal too. That's right. Yeah. You got to tie in teal accents to the inside to go with the teal scallops.
See what I'm seeing here. I'm just going to throw it out there, right?
Dude, you roll
the metal portions. The car's flat black with the teal scallop thing going down the side of it with a hot pink outline pinstripe. And the inside metal portions of the doors and the dash are all teal to match, but the roll cage is hot pink to tie in the pink from the pinstripe. Come on, dude.
Dude, winning all the things right there.
Gray tweed interior. Come on, dude.
You're winning. 100%.
Come on.
Well, the tweed has to be the gray tweed that had the flecks of teal in it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, you gotta have 100%. A Chevy bow tie raised up somewhere, and then,
Yes, right between the wheel tubs, dude.
Yeah. Come on.
It needs to have a big block or a small block, either way, with either a blower or a tunnel ram or whatever. And
Yeah. God dang. So if anybody knows where there's a satchel of money, you can send it to P.O. Box 2236.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I sure hope that those
why
of you
not?
that are watching tonight are inspired by this show. Like, seriously, I know it's funny and we're laughing. But yes, I mean, for sure. Oh, and Barry K just says, "Hey, Chad, I never thought that you could be a chrome bumper vet guy. Even more respect. Let me add to it, my friend." So for those that don't know, like, I don't really talk about all this stuff very much, but so my dad bought a 68 Z28 Camaro brand new off of the showroom floor at Carl Chevrolet in San Jose, California when I was a kid. Or not when I was a kid, before I was born. I was born in 72. So he still has that car. It's sitting in the shop. I've grown up with that car my whole life. That car has like 40,000 miles on it. It's been an NHRA drag car its whole life, etc. My mother, when my dad met her, had a 66 Mustang GT fastback, red, like the tomato soup red, rally pack gauges, all the things, 289 HO 4-speed car. They traded that in, because we're a Chevrolet family, on a 71, I believe it was, 70 or 71 Monte Carlo. It was midnight bronze, which is like super, super, super dark root beer brown, really bitchin' color. I would love to have that. As far as I'm concerned, there were no Monte Carlos that existed except those and G-body Monte Carlos. And the G-bodies are my least favorite, but still okay. So we had that. But then my mother from 1978, let's say, to 79, let's say, to 82 or 3 or 4, something like that. My mother daily drove a 300 horse, 350 4-speed 69 Corvette convertible. Wow. It was Granada gold with tan interior, and that was her daily driver. So I come from a steel bumper, chrome bumper Corvette family. So my mom later in life, like, we sold that car. It had some paint checking starting and stuff, and it needed love we couldn't afford to do. Sold it to a guy who completely restored it. Saw it later. It was beautiful. My mom later in life bought a 94 Corvette convertible 6-speed car, competition yellow. We drove that thing forever till got rid of it. So yeah, it's not just me and dad with the hot rod stuff. It's also mom. So yeah, we have had the chrome bumper Corvettes in the house, and I love them. And I used to be real snobby, like rubber bumper Corvettes were not Corvettes as far as C3s go. I'm okay with them now if they're right. But if I was going to own one that I wanted, it would be a chrome bumper car. But the truth of the matter is I can't afford that.
Yeah.
So I'd probably be calling Josh and the guys over at, oh my God, I can't remember the name of the Corvette company, but they sell a kit to replace the rubber bumpers on a rubber bumper car and make them so that you can put a steel bumper on them. They sell a kit for that. Yeah, it's really cool. It works really well. So I would be calling them because I couldn't afford a steel bumper car. So yeah. Blood Brothers Garage says, I hear Ryan likes tunnel rams. Yes, he does.
I am a fan.
Yeah. Scott Liggett.
I am currently tunnel ramless, but I'm in the market.
Well, I know we should see if we can get that guy. Oh, speaking of Pro Street, look who's in the house. The one and only Mike Cotton.
Oh, yeah.
If you have not seen it, if you've not seen the Pepto Dismal Pro Street car of Cotton's, it's something to behold. Absolutely. Here, I'll share a photo. from one of their recent pictures with Scott Sullivan's 66, Troy Trepania's 66 Pro Street Chevelle. Cotton is the dude, and he's always sending me pictures of fun stuff before normal people get to see it, and I really appreciate him for that. So the Chrysler is getting, or has gotten some love. It is there's a blower under the hood now. A lot more engine and a lot more blower, and so it's pretty cool. So yeah, if you have not watched the show, make sure you check out Faster with Newbern and Cotton, formerly Faster with Finnegan. I love Finnegan; he's a good friend of mine, but Newbern and Cotton are doing an amazing job and arguably are more entertaining. Also, look for Cotton's Econoline Ford van too, because that thing is bad to the bone. He's got all kinds of fun stuff. So, okay, so they just finished the episode today from the Pro Street blower install. I love it. It's going to be great. So,
yeah.
There is nothing wrong with Pro Street. I agree, and Cotton is doing it right. Tom Nelson, are you doing RMRW again? I've been building a 70s Chevelle Pro Streeter. Yes. That I would love to get a video of you doing a half-track burnout with it. Yes, I'm in. Yes, Tom Nelson, we will be there. We'll be live streaming Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week this year. Now Newbern's in the house talking smack to Cotton. Hey, does Newbern own a Pro Street car?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I'm trying to still.
He does own a blown 57 Chevrolet that gives me lumber. Don't get me wrong, with a big block in it, but Pro Street. Come on, Newbern.
Man, my question is, was Tom talking to you or to me on that burnout deal there?
To me. I mean, right?
Damn. Are you sure?
I mean, I'm going to assume he is. Tom, you're talking to me, of course. And if you answer no, we're just not paying attention to that comment. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's too cool.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, again, I hope everybody had fun with the show tonight. We've been on an hour and a half almost, so we're going to start wrapping this thing up here in a few minutes. But seriously appreciate all you guys tuning in. We want you to tell us what you want us to talk about. And I mean, that's whatever. I mean, whatever trends, whatever shows, whatever events, it doesn't matter. Like, you tell us and we'll talk about it. You know us. I mean, Dave Newbern just says, my life isn't complete until I build a Pro Street car. I apologize. I have faith in you, my friend. I have faith in you. You are very, very, very well equipped to make poor financial decisions through cars. And I love you for it. It's why we're brothers. Like, I love you for it.
Yes, indeed. That decision always turn out to be great.
Oh my God.
It's all about perspective.
So as a reminder too, before we go tonight, the Tailgate Throwdown, you can find it, Tailgate Throwdown, on Facebook. It is the weekend of April 26th, 7th. Which one? 27th. So April 27th. And you absolutely need to go check that event out. Again, go find the Tailgate Throwdown on Facebook. You can get all the information there. It is shaping up to be a bitchin' event with a bunch of people that literally, this thing started out as being some buddies who were talking crap to each other and decided to go race their trucks against each other. And now it's turned into insanity. So, you know, oh, dude, Cotton, you suck. Cotton's sending me more photos of the car and the blower and the thing. Cotton, can I show these right now? Let me see if I can show them. if I can show these, I'm going to share them. I'm sending him a text. Let's see. Because they are awesome. Like, they're good stuff for sure. If okay, Cotton says I can show these, so I'm going to show off these photos right here. Dude, this thing is, I mean, come on. Like, I don't care who you are, this is pretty badass. This is also proof, okay, of what that Pro Street is cool, because let's face it, that car is not cool if it didn't have a blown something in it and a big tire under it. It's just not. Right?
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw them get that car,
yeah,
I was like, boy, I don't know what kind of drugs those guys were on when they built that thing. But now I'm like, all right. Now the only thing is, gotta go get the hot pink and green tennis balls so you can put them in it, because that is my favorite thing when I was a kid, is seeing the
No. Hold on. I have that. I'm pretty sure I have that from Newburn or from Cotton. Hold on. One of these photos has that in it. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Being very still.
I'm trying. Okay, here we go. This one has them. It has the pink tennis balls. See?
God bless America.
I know, right?
God bless America.
It's the little things. I mean, come on. Right? Oh, God.
I cry right now, you know?
Yeah.
This makes me so happy.
Josh Ponactera says last year was unwatchable. Have you taken measures? Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about, Josh, because we had an awesome stream last year with full HD and all the internet, because I've put it in at all the racetracks. So yeah, it'll be great because we got it. It's good. Charles says, I'm having phone issues. Just texted you photos of a 55 Chevy that we should check out. Okay. Let's see here. That's such an ugly car, but damn, it's good when it's got a blower sticking out of the hood.
Well, the only thing that could be uglier is a Pro Street Rampage with that same setup. And now I got my screws all unwound about a Rampage.
I would do a Pro Street Rampage. I think a Pro Street Rampage would be awesome.
I know.
I really do.
I know where the cleanest example of a stock Rampage is sitting right now.
Really? Now, I've driven a Rampage. Mike Copeland's bitching the orange one with the Hemi in the rear and all that. Like, that thing is a riot. A Pro Street one would be nuts, and I'm all in. Like, again,
my uncle had one.
Have welder will travel.
Yes. I don't need it. If my wife's watching this, she's probably going to shoot me as soon as I walk in the house. God.
That's true. That is 100% true.
Never mind. I'm not going to get a Rampage.
Hold on. Wickman sent me pictures. Let's see what he's got here real quick before we go.
Okay.
Because I can't stop when the cool things start showing up.
I get it.
Oh, wait, wrong one. Oh. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see here. Oh, dude. Oh. Okay, first off, this first one that he shared this gives me lumber right here. It's a 68, but that's okay. I'd fix it by putting 69 taillights in it because I do like a vent window. So, I'm down. But this is the other car, a chopped 55 Pro Street, which you owned a 55 that was chopped.
I should have pro streeted the car.
Yes. It would only cost $1 million to make it a nice Pro Street car.
$1.5 million.
Maybe 2. Yeah. Dude. I mean, really, come on.
Still wouldn't be able to. Oh, come on. Come on.
Okay, that's a third-gen Camaro console in it.
Of course it is. And that's a B&M Mega.
I know this car. That's all airbrushed.
Airbrushed, right?
All the trim on this car is airbrushed. I know this car. Yep.
Do you think it was cheaper that way?
Well, nowadays it would be, but back then it was not.
No.
Nowadays it would be.
Yep.
God.
French, shaved, tucked.
All the things.
Yeah. Deck nosed.
There's so many things I don't like about that, and none of them matter because all the things I do love about it. You know what I mean?
No. The only thing it's missing is wheelie bars.
Yeah.
It's got wheelie bars.
And it needs to be 6 inches lower in the front. But that's,
Well,
I'm a late on its nuts Tri-5 guy. If anybody doesn't know my my wagon, I can show you a picture of Rusty right now that is it's really, 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 really low. I say I can show you a picture of it. I don't know where those pictures are actually. Yeah. I don't know. Might have to share those next time.
Well, hey.
We're going to be back, so it'll be fine. It's fine. Fine. Exactly. All right. So, been on an hour and a half. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for everybody that sent all the things. And Scott Liggett's now sending Rampage pictures to me as well.
Oh, God. Yeah.
No, it's the ugliest green ever. He says it's the perfect color. I can't stand it, but it must be on a car lot. Oh my God. Now I got to share this. Stop sending me things. Just, would you look at it? I mean, look at this thing.
Please don't make me look at it. You have a phone number? Oh, yes. It's got the freaking, it's got
a cowl hood on it already and everything.
Yeah, what the Shelby kit. It's got the Shelby nose on it.
Yeah.
The Daytona nose.
Oh no, that's God, because it is. Horrible. It has blue and silver Shelby interior in it, he says.
Oh my God. That looks like vomit.
I don't know that blue and silver goes with that green.
Well, if it's tweed, let it rip.
True.
Put a blower on it, a set of monococks, balloon tires, and a set of wheelie bars, bud. You got yourself a fine automobile.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Oh God, Wickham says it has a double tube rear bumper on the Rampage, and he's right. I can see it in the picture now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
That's amazing. Scott says it's ugly enough to be a Pro Street. That's great.
Absolutely. Cut it to pieces.
Blowers fix all the things. See?
See, they do.
Blood Brothers Garage. Amen, brother. Amen.
You know what's going on.
Of course. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you so much. I'm Chad Reynolds.
And
that guy's Brian. He doesn't even know how to say his own name when I go, I'm Chad Reynolds. That's where you go. I'm Ryan Wing.
I don't like saying my last name because when I say it, it sounds like Huang.
Yeah, but that's okay because you're from Texas. So let's try this again. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
I'm Chad Reynolds.
And I'm Ryan Wing.
Thanks for joining us for Beards, Burnouts, and Beer. We appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you next time. We'll be live again in 2 weeks. And again, help us decide what we're talking about next time. Send me an email, chat@bangshift.com. Hit us up on Facebook. Put it in the comments here, whatever the hell you want to do. We don't care. Tell us what you want us to talk about, and we just might listen to you.
Internet hug. Internet hug.
Internet hug for sure. All right. Thanks, everybody. We're out of here. See ya.